Life really counts when the hard times surface. I've been thinking about this for some time, and of recent events have taken place in my life in which you could say it's been some adverse conditions, almost like adverse weather, where things have not been rosy, they've not been smooth. And it's led me to believe that when things are tough, when things are hard, that's when you as an individual have to go clutch, as they say. But not clutch when it's good times, when things are going great, when things are smooth, rosy. It's when those difficult moments where you're in a space of feeling confusion, there's doubt, the future is uncertain. That's when you really have to summon the strength and your internal guidance to move through these difficult situations. So, of late, October came and went, and it was a very turbulent time for me personally. Things going on in the background with family members and so on. And there were also friends and family who were going through tough times. And it's during these stormy, turbulent conditions when you're really faced with how strong are you as an individual to face these scenarios and come out the other side even stronger. Because these moments will always surface in life, they will always happen. You just don't know when. And therefore, are you prepared for those moments? And can you be someone that can be a strength, a guide, a supporting mechanism to others who are also facing difficult times in those very moments? As a young child, we are protected and guided by our parents, and the world seems more of a friendly place. Now, things are happening outside of your little sphere. And for others, it's different. For many of us, it can be different circumstances. Some face adversity at a younger age, or it happens to us when we're a little bit older. Just like my previous video where I mentioned how I lost my mum when I was in my early 20s. And that was my biggest moment of a tragic, traumatic experience. Don't get me wrong, there were other circumstances, outside. There had been friends who lost their parents, or I remember even in my college years where there was people who died, but it was never directly involving, people that were truly close to me and were loved ones. But when that did hit, my mum passing away, that was one of the hardest things that I went through. And I don't wish it for anyone, but I know that those moments happen for everyone. And even on this year, people have that I know of that I went to school with or lived around the way, they passed away. And it does hit you. It hits you in those moments, but never as tough and as hard as when it's someone that you truly love, a parent, a friend, a partner, whoever that may be. And it puts you through the fire, through the furnace. And it really challenges you as to how strong a character you are, because death is something that we obviously don't necessarily like to think about, or illness, or whatever it may be. We chase pleasure to avoid the pain and realities of the harshness of life. So yeah, these moments that I've been through where it has been a close relative that's been in a difficult situation has almost resurfaced certain traumatic experience that I had when I did lose my mom. And it truly forces you to think about the current, present nature of things and the future and what that could bring, how that changes life, and how you can manage through those dark times. So, yeah, I encourage you to work daily on the strength of character, your strength of being, your strength of what a force of nature you need to be in this world when the dark times hit. Because, like I said, that is truly the true test in life. It's not so much chasing your dreams and goals, although that can be difficult as well. But when things outside of that you can't control truly take over and disturb your peace, your force, your freedom, your autonomy, you have to truly dig deep and make sure that you're prepared for these moments. And that could be daily practices such as meditation, journaling, knowing that these tragic moments can be around the corner, whether that's for yourself or others in your life. Are you truly prepared for when those moments come? Because they can ultimately destroy you from within. There are multiple examples of people where they crumble in the face of adversity. I once worked in a role where people would come to the service for support with basic needs. And then they tell you stories about how someone, messed them over, or they lost someone in their life, or they made a mistake and they've never recovered from that. And then it just spirals and spirals into a disaster of a life in which just one or two things they were unable to handle put them in a position where it's hard to climb out of, and they will never see the light of day in terms of those setbacks that happened. And therefore, you can't afford to be like that. If you have major goals in life, major aspirations, you're ambitious, you can't let one or two things, no matter how tragic, no matter how traumatic they are, to destroy you. Therefore, you have to be immense in this game of life, because there are harsh realities out there. And even though we live in one of the most prosperous times, but you see how things are out there. Things are truly difficult on a psychological level, on a mental capacity. And therefore, you have to make sure that you can strive and thrive in this life, and you have as much as abundance as possible to look after yourself and others, your loved ones, your true soulmates that are out there, that are seeking you and you are seeking them, and you build together. So that's it. Stay strong. And if you do encounter difficult times, that's when you truly destroy that energy and you rebuild yourself.